Pikachu is the most voted Pokemon by far in the community's Pokemon cart concept roster, so I'm going to throw them on the board right now. We have 47 slots left to fill out, so let's see who you guys picked as your Pokemon. For your comments, whoever Pokemon you listed first got 10 points, then second place got 8 points, third got 6, and then minus 1 point all the way down to your 8th Pokemon, which only got 1 point. Charizard is the next Pokemon on this list with only 70 points. Yes, over 100 points under Pikachu. That's just how popular Pikachu was. But Charizard is a pretty popular Pokemon nonetheless. Gotta give him props for getting second place on this ranking. Third is Eevee. Eevee has 60 points, and Eevee joins the concept roster for the Pokemon cart game. This is pretty exciting to see Eevee on the board. What do you guys think so far? Next is Lucario with 51 points, and shockingly enough, Lucario didn't get a single first place vote in the comments from you guys, but still got plenty of votes in second, third, and fifth to counteract that balance and allow him to get fourth place on the Pokemon ranking. Now, of course, what concept roster would be complete without the one and only Quagsire? That's right, the only Pokemon to get more than 2 votes in first place. That's right, Quagsire got 3 first place votes, and Quagsire finishes with 45 points. Just 1 point under Quagsire is Squirtle, the 6th character to go off this roster, cute water type, and in Smash Brothers, so he's got everything going for him. The 7th Pokemon goes to the one and only Mewtwo. That's right, in Smash Brothers, one of the original legendary Pokemons, the one-of-a-kind Pokemon with 39 points. Good job, Mewtwo. Kind of a surprising pick, but not really much of a surprising pick at the exact same time. We got Incineroar with 29 points, taking up the last spot in the first row. He is in Smash Brothers, so I'm pretty sure that boosted up his ratings quite a little bit, so I hope you guys enjoy him here. 1 point under Incineroar is the one and only Snorlax with 28 points. Another Pokemon to not get a single first place vote, but he got a vote in every single placement except 8th, so you gotta love it. Starting a 3-way tie for 27 points, we have Gengar with another first place. Not too bad. I mean, a very dark demon ghost type Pokemon from Gen 1. What do you guys think about Gengar in this game? Greninja is up next with 27 points, tied with Gengar. 1 first place position, but then the rest of them is somewhere middle in the pack. 4, 5, and 6. A couple of votes in between there allows him to tie Gengar for 27 points. And the final Pokemon to tie with 27 points is the one and only Bulbasaur. 0 first place votes for him, but enough second and third place votes to warrant his placement on this ranking. Well done, Bulbasaur. Hope you guys enjoy him here. With 24 points is the one and only Mudkip. Only 3 people, however, voted for Mudkip. That's right, Mudkip got a first, a second, and a third place vote, allowing him to catapult his rankings and get all the way up to the second row. Congrats, Mudkip. In a 2-way tie with 23 points, we're starting things off with Jigglypuff. That's right, the character that joined Pikachu in the original Smash 64 game and hasn't left ever since. I'm curious how you guys enjoy Jigglypuff in the Pokemon games, but a well-known fan favorite, especially from Smash. But a character not from Smash Brothers, but that just has fan favorite all around is Dragonite. Definitely a rare type of Pokemon. 23 points ties with Jigglypuff. Gotta love Dragonite making his way onto this list. And rounding out the second row of this 48 character roster is Zorark with 22 points. Not too many people voted for him, like 4 to 5 people. Well done, Zorark, for making it onto this roster. What do you guys think? Starting row 3, we're going crazy with it. We got the one and only Blastoise with a first, second, and a 6th place voting for Blastoise. 21 points. Gotta love it. A big, heavy-duty Pokemon from Gen 1. Curious to get your opinions on this Pokemon in general. How do you guys like him in here? Charmander up next with 20 points. 0 first place votes for Charmander, but a second and a couple of third places, enough to get Charmander over the hump and into the middle-ish section of this Pokemon roster. Not too popular, but not unpopular at the same time. Hope you guys enjoy our buddy Charmander. Next up, tied with 20 points with Charmander is Garchomp. Didn't think Garchomp had that much of a popularity fan base, but hey, I guess he has a pretty darn cool design. I can't lie. Congrats, you guys. Garchomp is in the Pokemon cart roster. The final Pokemon that is tied with 20 points is Gardevoir. Hopefully I pronounced that one correctly, ladies and gents. All around the middle of the rankings, a couple of 3rd, 4th, 5th place rankings. Getting 20 points, not too shabby. Next up is Piplup with 18 points in total. 1 first place vote is enough to bring him onto this list, and that really did it for Piplup. He needed that first place vote, or else he might not have even been in this roster to begin with. With 17 points is the one and only Dragapult. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't too familiar with who Dragapult is, but now after looking at his design, I gotta say, a pretty darn cool Pokemon. Not really expected, but it was pretty awesome to see that design, and wow, that looks really darn cool. I can understand the popularity. We got a 2-way tie for 16 points to round out the 3rd row, the halfway point of this Pokemon cart roster. First up is Feraligatr, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't know who Feraligatr was until I rolled Feraligatr in the Pokemon Randomizer cart roster video that I did last week, so make sure to go check that one out if you want to see the rest of that roster. Rounding out the 3rd row in the Pokemon cart roster with tied with 16 points is Snivy. You gotta love it. A pretty popular Pokemon, just a nice looking Pokemon, so you gotta love it. Good job, Snivy, and good job you guys for getting Snivy in here. Only 2 people voted for Snivy, but it was enough to get Snivy into this roster. Next up, starting the 4th row with 15 points is Jolteon. This is our first evolution from Gen 1, if I remember correctly. A pretty popular one, the electric type, and yeah, just a nice looking Pokemon. These evolutions look kind of sick, and you guys got quite a few in here, but Jolteon was the most popular one with 15 points. Gotta love it. And tied with Jolteon for 15 points is Decidueye. That's right, you gotta love it. Decidueye with a first place votes, and then a couple of 6th and 7th places to get Decidueye into that 4th row. Good job, Decidueye, and good job to you guys. Decidueye, almost a character in Smash Brothers, a character in Pokken Tournament, a pretty popular one from Gen 7 or 8, I believe. I'm not sure exactly which one. I think Gen 8. And making his way into the roster with 14 points is Sceptile. Only 2 people voted for Sceptile, a 2nd and a 3rd place vote, but that's enough to get Sceptile on its own placement in the rankings. Another 3-way tie with 13 points is Umbreon, a dark type of evolution. That's right, just a very cool design. I understand why people like this specific evolution in particular, especially the design, so I can kind of get behind that. But for the 2 people that voted for Umbreon, good stuff. That first place vote for Umbreon really saved it. Also tied with 13 points, a character, a Pokemon that I really did not expect to be here, but from Gen 9, Scarlet Violet, we got Tink A Ton. This might be one of the only Gen 9 Pokemons to make it onto this list. Tink A Ton just carries a massive hammer that can crush pretty much anyone, so you better be careful when going around Tink A Ton. And again, tied with 13 points, only 2 people voted for this Pokemon. It is Absol, a 2nd and a 4th place vote. Understandable. Absol is a pretty interesting Pokemon. Not much that I know about Absol, but Absol making it onto this roster, and I hope you guys are proud of it. Starting the list of 12 pointers, we got a Pokemon evolution that we haven't seen yet, Ivysaur, who is Bulbasaur's evolved form. Ivysaur, I'm pretty sure, only made it this far because he is in Smash Brothers and is a pretty popular Pokemon in that game as well. And honestly, Ivysaur kind of deserves it. In Smash Brothers, you might as well claim your spot here. But rounding out this 4th row, tied with 12 points with Ivysaur, is Abomasnow. I didn't really know who this Pokemon was, and that is a really sick name for a Pokemon. Look how massive that character is. Just a pretty solid design for a Pokemon that is meant to look like the abominable snowman. 16 to go for which one is next up. The one that is also tied with Ivysaur and Abomasnow with 12 points. We have Blaziken, one of those popular Pokemon in the early gens. Very humanoid, and you gotta love it. Fire types, that's what we all like to see. Just a solid design all around. We are going farther down the ladder, but first up is Espeon, another Pokemon from the Evolution clan. This one is more of the mythic type Pokemon, just a fully pinkish purplish design, and honestly looks kind of good. Tied with 11 points is Meloetta, another Pokemon that I didn't really understand who this was. Pretty darn solid design. Good stuff, guys. You guys know your Pokemon. This is pretty darn good. Also with 11 points, this is the one and only Meowth. That's right, Pokemon that is with Team Rocket in all of the Pokemon anime. You guys gotta love that. Can get a little annoying from time to time as well, but regardless, Meowth is a good one to have on this Pokemon cart roster. Makes a lot of sense, so I appreciate you guys putting him in here. Next up, also tied with 11 points, is Oshawott, a Pokemon that seems to be relatively forgotten, one that you don't really talk about too often. Only 2 people voted for Oshawott, but it got enough points to just barely make it onto this Pokemon cart roster. Also tied with 11 points, this one is Gallade. I don't know how to pronounce this one, but it's okay because we got a first place vote and a last place vote. So 10 points and 1 point obviously combined to make 11. I gotta admit, the design is better than I thought it would be. So you gotta take that into consideration as well. With 11 points, we have Scizor. I mean, just look at the design, those sharp pointy legs, the scissors as hands, and it's just all red. Pretty darn solid Pokemon that I really like seeing contrasting with all the other Pokemon in this list. Makes a lot of sense that it's on this roster. The last one with 11 points, rounding out the 5th row, is Clobbopus, one that I didn't expect at all to make on this list. I didn't know this Pokemon even existed. I think this is a Gen 8 or Gen 9 Pokemon, one of a newer Pokemon. We got a first place and a last place vote, just like with Gallade. The hands are absolutely massive, and I feel like they can clobber, knock you out. You know, they can do the damage needed to get done. So we don't got Pichu in this list. Sorry for the spoilers. Pichu is not in here, but Pikachu's original evolved form, Raichu, is in here, and look at that design. Just a beautiful version of Pikachu. Pikachu's cute, but Raichu is dope. Only 1 person voted for these Pokemon with first place votes as their favorite Pokemon, and let's see who we got here. First up is Meowscarada. Not a Pokemon that I really know, but look at that design. This Pokemon just makes sense to have in a Pokemon cart racing game. Not one that I knew before this video, so hey, you guys are teaching me something. Next up, with another single vote for first place with 10 points is Swampert. Same situation as Meowth, a one that I really didn't know until this video. Congrats to the person that voted this one as their first place favorite Pokemon. This is a pretty cool Pokemon, so hey, glad that he's made it into the roster for you. We gotta go with the one and only iconic Vulpix. I'm surprised only got one vote. I mean, I guess that's pretty popular in some areas. What do you guys think about Vulpix? Maybe like a shorter, smaller version of Eevee. I'm not too sure. Maybe it looks a little bit too similar. The last Pokemon on this roster to have a single first place vote is Fennekin. That's right. We don't have Braixen in here, but we have its pre-evolution Fennekin. I'm curious, what do you guys think about this character, this Pokemon? Do you guys like Braixen better than Fennekin, or do you guys like Fennekin better than Braixen? First one with 9 points is Dorrio. We got 3 heads on this ostrich-looking Pokemon, one that I really haven't been too familiar with, but it's a funny-looking one, and honestly, it would be very interesting to see how this one can maneuver a cart or just get around a Pokemon racing type of game. Next up with 9 points, rounding out the 47th second to last roster spot is Whimsicott. Fills up the entire square with her massive head of hair and just that tree-like design, so pretty solid to have this character in here. And lastly, with 1 second place vote, this one is Machoke, not Machamp or Machamp. Still pretty buff rock looking type Pokemon, so gotta love that one. The Pokemon roster for the future Pokemon cart game that we hope is conceptualized one day or another. I'm not too sure. Just wanted to think that this could be a fun idea to make for you guys. What do you guys think of this roster? 48 Pokemon that you guys decided from first favorite to 8th favorite. I am going to put the list of all of the rest of the Pokemon that you guys at least commented and give them their point values as to show how close they were to making it into this bracket. We got a lot of deliberation to see in the comments below. Pokemon can be a subjective topic as there are over 1,000 of them and we only had to pick 48, so completely understandable if some of your favorites did not get in. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Stay all pro, and I'm out of here.